War Memorial Stadium in Laramie, Wyoming sits at 7,100 feet above sea level, but Aztecs coach Sean Lewis isn't giving that topographic note any energy this week as his team faces off against the Wyoming Cowboys in a Mountain West Conference football game. Nice of you to join us here on Aztecs All In. Steve Perez and Louis Weiner trying to keep you up to speed with Aztec Fast as the Aztecs go for their first road win of the season and a chance to notch another conference win. We'd say hello to Aztec Lou, but his mouth is full of a shot of beet juice, so let's get to it. In this week's edition, we'll take a look at this week's opponent, who, like the Aztecs, are 1-0 in the Mountain West. They are 1-4 overall.
From Nate Bennett to Lewis Brown IV, Aztecs wide receivers are stepping up. And I'll talk with passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach Lanear Sampson about their progress.
And we'll also do a quick looky-loo into the science of beet juice. It's been a long time since the Aztecs have made the journey to Laramie, which, thanks to modern aviation, is now a 2.5-hour flight or somewhere thereabouts from San Diego. Lewis, last time the Aztecs faced the Cowboys, December 3rd, 2016. They defeated the Cowboys, led by future NFL QB Josh Allen, 27-24 to win the Mountain West title. That's after they played in the same stadium 2 weeks earlier and lost by a point. This Aztec team, in the midst of a transition to the Aztec fast no-huddle offensive style espoused by Lewis, they are coming off a hard-fought conference win at home against Hawaii, and according to Lewis, are facing Saturday's foe with humble attitudes and resolve to improve after looking at the game tape. Wyoming coming off a bye week after taking apart Air Force in Laramie, 31-19. Bookies say the Aztecs are 1-point underdogs. The all-time series tied 19 wins apiece. Each team owns the edge at home by a margin of 12-7. Whoever wins this game going to hold the all-time series lead for the foreseeable future, Lewis. Aztecs to the Pac-12 in 2026. Wyoming will remain in the Mountain West. Each team has a new head coach, of course, Wyoming going with 4-year defensive coordinator Jay Soule, so you know they put a premium on physical defense. Though the Cowboys have given up big numbers in earlier games against Arizona State, BYU, and North Texas, Lewis says the Wyoming defense, like many when it comes to fundamentals, attempts to disguise what defender is attacking what part of the line of scrimmage. But it also shows discipline when it comes to time to fall back and fill the gaps. Once again, the Aztecs' offensive line will be called upon to battle for control of the line of scrimmage, create space for Marquez Cooper, and still apparently only Marquez Cooper to run the football. Ask Coach Lou once more to talk about the job senior Dean Abdullah did, stepping into the center position. Abdullah not showing on the depth chart at that position, but he was pressed into service when it became clear Braden Bryant was unable to continue. It may have been unexpected to onlookers, but par for the course, as Abdullah showed in practice.
Yeah, I mean, next to the quarterback, right, he touches it every single play, right? And so with us being in the shotgun, almost 100% of the time, obviously him being accurate with the snaps, handling the communication, getting all 5 of those guys to see the front, through the same set of eyes and getting them tied together. He did an excellent job with it. And again, it's, something that we talk about all the time within the program, right? We need to have a next man up mindset. There's been a lot of people that have stepped up in different roles that come to a surprise to a lot of people who follow us because they see it on game day. But when you see it within the building day in and day out, the way that the guys are approaching it, the way that they're getting better, and then when their number's called, they're trained, they're ready, and they seize those moments, it's great to see, and it validates, again, our process and the work that we value so that those guys are ready. And again, when their numbers are called, they step up, and away we go.
Former Michigan State offensive coordinator Jay Johnson started out the season attempting to rely on a running game, but some banged-up players have kept the ball most recently in the hands of junior quarterback Evan Svoboda. He goes 6'5", 245. 2 weeks ago against Air Force, he scored 3 rushing touchdowns, is their third leading ball carrier. Notably, his stats show 5 fumbles on the season, 1 lost. Svoboda reportedly has a power arm, but on the season is less than 50% on completions. He has thrown 3 interceptions against 2 touchdowns. Cowboys have a backup who is more accurate in freshman Caden Anderson, but has seen limited action thus far. At this point, Sam Scott is the Cowboys' leading ball carrier. The junior class member averaging 36 yards a game on 40 carries. He scored his first touchdown of the season in impressive fashion against Air Force. Stands 6'2", 230. Began the season number 4 on the running back depth chart. 3 other backs have appeared in all 4 games for Wyoming with different builds presenting the defense with different looks. Running back Tyler King shows speed during his few carries on offense and has also shown breakaway potential returning kicks. He has a 100-yard return for a touchdown in 8 attempts. Coach Lewis says as a team, the Cowboys do a good job of getting what he called dirty yards, carries that look like they're going nowhere or may even be a loss, and then the backs find little creases that their offensive lines help push the pile 4 yards downfield. Lewis, it stands to reason if the Aztecs can hold the Cowboys to less than 130 yards on the ground, then their chances of notching a win will vastly improve. Here's a stat from collegefootballnews.com. Since 2019, Wyoming is over 14 when it fails to hit 130 yards on the ground. The Aztecs QB, Danny O'Neill, named Conference Freshman of the Week for his job against Hawaii, 24 of 33 in the air, 224 yards, after completing his first 10 of the night. 24 completions is a career high for O'Neill. He also threw for a touchdown, his 5th this season. Edge defender Trey White's monster game earned him conference defensive honor. He had 4 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks for a second straight game, and leads the FBS in sacks per game, tackles for loss per game, and is tied for first in total sacks with 9. Coach Lewis welcomes the accolades that come with last week's win against Hawaii, but it's a new week, and getting prepared to notch a win against this week's foe is now the focus.
There's definitely, maybe a little bit more bounce in the step, right? I mean, we were kind of joking as we were coming in, me and Jamie and everything, right? Like, oh, winning cures everything, right? And there's a little bit more energy, right? But again, the guys who have the right mindset, the guys who have the proper competitive maturity, and as we build out, this culture to a championship level, the win's great, but the win was a long time ago now, right? And the focus in the present has to be on the present, and we have to live our cultural beliefs to where know and understand, hey, be mature enough, right? Like, detach and look around what happened in college, football this past weekend, right? Like, there's a lot of things where a lot of people got humbled, and as good as the win last week was, and as good as that feels, if we don't handle business the right way today, again, then we'll get humbled real quick as well, right? And so we got a really good quality opponent, right, that happens to be up there in Wyoming, and I know that they're getting ready. They've had extra time to prepare coming off the bye week, and we have to be urgent, we have to be detailed, and we have to go up there and earn the right to win by how we prepare throughout the course of this week.
After hearing how the Aztecs review the prior game on Sunday week after week, was curious just how Coach Lou approaches that task. He starts out talking about it from the head coach's perspective, and it makes you tired just listening to him. But then he gets into how this task just never ends, especially when it comes to putting on the offensive coordinator hat.
Obviously seeing both sides of the ball and being able to have a good idea from a head coach's perspective, first and foremost, how we win this game, right, and what that recipe looks like and what the keys to victory are and the points of emphasis that we have to go into the plan with so that we can build a plan in all 3 phases the right way. And then as I start drilling down deeper, right, you want to look at, again, the personnel and the people and how they're fitting together, because at the end of the day, I think at times maybe you might get too caught up in scheme, and it really doesn't matter what the plays are, because it's really about the Jimmies and the Joes and the players that make those plays come to life, right? And so I spend a lot of time there early in the week, and as you move through the week, right, you get a little bit more nuanced with the situational work of it, like how do they present, end of first half versus end of game 1-minute situations. What do they look like in third downs? What do they look like in the goal zone, the red zone, backed up? And then, then you zoom back out and you make sure that you don't get lost, amongst the forest and in the weeds, because you're looking at all these cut-ups and then know and understand who's that play caller on the other side and what are their characteristics in critical situations, so that you can, have this beautiful art, I guess, so to speak, of having a good feel of how do you put your guys in position to be successful, yet not, just have a hodgepodge of plays, but a system that the kids can then go use with a set of rules and a set of tools to be successful on a Saturday.
At what point did you stop chasing the ghosts and just kind of go with the flow?
That's the art of coaching, to make sure that you're not doing that too deep, too late. But, man, guys have felt, here in this building already. If there's a touchdown play that shows itself on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning, we got a late kick, we'll install some things in the ballroom, walk through, and have it have some success on a Saturday.
That, Lewis, is how you try to establish a winning mindset going forward. You never take your eye off the goal, and if you think you're done, It's time to get back at the task and do just a little bit more. I think in Coach Lou speak, you'd call it being relentless. Lewis, there may be something Coach Lou can take from the last time he faced a Wyoming team. That was in 2021 in Boise's famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Sean Lewis was head coach of the Kent State Golden Flashes, and his team rolled up 656 yards total offense. That was a historic performance. Cowboys, though, prevailed in that one 52-38. And now Chef Lewis has something cooking for us in the passing game, right?
Steve, the recipe for success to Sean Lewis's high-flying Aztecs fast offense is a solid quarterback who can make the right decisions and get the ball to the playmakers in space. And when those playmakers get the ball, to get some yards after the catch to put extra pressure on the defense. While it's definitely a work in progress, quarterback Danny O'Neal is showing that he has the talent to get the job done. And it also looks like he has the wide receivers to make it work too. And that's a credit to San Diego State's new passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach, Lanear Sampson. He comes to the Aztecs from Austin Peay, where he was co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach. This week after practice, I got to spend some time with him to talk about his playmakers. Coach, thank you so much for spending some time. So 5 games into the season, what's your assessment of the receiver group so far as a whole?
We're getting better. We're getting better every week. We challenge these guys to be able to come out here and practice every day, which in our offense sometimes is hard. You know, we had some hot days, but, you know, they continue to compete and continue to live up to the standard that we're pushing them to. So we just been continue to have great days and continue to stack days, having +1 moments.
Lewis Brown, man, he's been good. Breakout season, you could say. Great chemistry between him and Danny O'Neal so far. Leads the team in receptions and yards. Talk about his development and just how good is he and how good can he be?
Man, Lewis Brown LB is just not scratching the surface. He has a lot in him. He's been getting better since he's been here. He's embraced the culture, and he's embraced the offense. And so every day I challenge him because he is that type of player that has a high ceiling. And so I come out here and I challenge him every day to be better, right? And so, you know, sometimes, guys like him kind of lean on that talent a little bit, and he has early on, but then he's like, hey, I got a lot of room to grow. And he realized that, and the more he realizes that, and you know, the more we continue to tap into his potential, and that potential become, you know, something great, you know.
So with Colorado State last year, he got a first-hand look at the Colorado offense and what Coach Lewis is doing, and he had a good game against them as well. So talk a little bit about, what is that one of the reasons he came here? Was he familiar with the offense, that sort of thing?
I think that. I think also, in this transfer portal world, you know, everybody has their reasons. And, him being a California kid and being 2 hours away from home, you know, getting back into the state. And with the offense that we brought in and Coach Lewis has brought in, you know, he wanted to play an exciting offense like this and have an opportunity to be, to be one of the next 1,000-yard guys. And so, as long as he continue to come in and put in the work and continue to embrace the work and not negotiate the work, then he's going to be a very, very great player for us.
Nate Bennett so far, just 7 catches. So he's the deep guy right now, and he's played a lot of football. So talk a little bit about him and what he means to the program so far.
Nate's been great, man. You're talking about a true culture guy. Just his attitude, very consistent each and every day, his maturity level, his leadership. Man, I can't say enough about Nate. I mean, he's had some 4th down conversions this year that's been really, really huge. And he's always just, embraced his opportunity, whatever that is, and embraced his role. Like, whether that's splitting time early on, more time early on, or, only – it doesn't matter his role. Like, he wants to get in on special teams. Whatever we ask him to do, he's willing to do. And he's been a pleasant surprise for us. And he come out here and work every day. And, we love that. And he's going to continue to get better.
Now, Deshaun Polk, another guy who's played a lot of football, and so you have him and Bennett playing with a true freshman quarterback at Danny O'Neal. How important is it for Danny to be seeing these guys who've played a lot of football? Is that a big deal for him?
Yeah, it is. Seeing experienced guys, seniors that's been in college 4 or 5 years has been very beneficial on his end. But Danny came in with the mentality like he was a 3-4 year starter already. The way he goes about his business every day, the way he comes out to practice, the way he approached the meeting room and all that, like his leadership has been phenomenal for us as well, and for them two guys as well. So I think it goes hand in hand, and they just feed off each other.
Let's talk about the guy with the least amount of college experience, Jordan Napier, who's 10 catches, 134 yards. Talk a little bit about him and his development.
Yeah, it's been great. Jordan Napier, his attitude is amazing. He comes out here, great talent, and comes out here and wants to work every day. And obviously doesn't have a lot of playing experience, but when he gets this opportunity in the game, obviously, as you see, that he goes in there and put his best foot forward, and he's able to do some things, especially when he gets the ball in his hand. He's a physical runner. He's an aggressive kid, and man, I love his mentality and the way he comes out. And like I said, he's starting to turn into a leader as well, and so it's been good to see.
Now, Mekhi Shaw from last season's team, not getting as many chances out there, but special teams. Talk a little bit about him, and do you see him getting maybe a little more involved?
Yeah, it's just been tough, just with some things that's been happening, But he comes to work with a great attitude, and we got to continue to work through some things with him, but also he just comes ready to practice, ready to compete every day. And I know he was a guy last year for the most part, but like I said, he's embraced the culture, embraced what we're trying to get done, and he's bought in. So we just got to continue to find some ways to get him going.
Another guy from last year is not here. Balin Brooks started out a couple of games and then he took off. That must be hard in this portal era where you've got guys who are leaving because they're not getting enough playing time, or leaving because they're so successful that they think they could do better in a Power 4 program. Talk a little bit about that situation.
I mean, it's just the world we live in right now, right? Like, guys want to play, or, guys want more money, or whatever the case may be, and I get it. And right, so the biggest deal for us is the guys that are here. We work with the guys that's here and continue to get them better each and every day. And you deal with that stuff usually deal with that stuff at the end of the season. And so just my job is to coach the guys that's here.
And as passing game coordinator, you got Jude Wolf, who's playing well. Do you see him getting a little more involved as the season goes?
Yeah, Jude's great, man. Jude's great, and as we continue to fine tune this offense, and like it's game 5, like it's going on game 6 right now. It's still young in the season. It's the first time offensively that a lot of these guys has played together. I mean, most of the guys. I don't think anybody has played together offensively right now. All new starters, whether it's transfers or, high school kids or whatever. So, as we continue to fine-tune this offense and continue to, game plan and things like that, I'm sure, Drew's going to get more and more of an opportunity as long as he continue to do what he's doing, and just his maturity level as well, being a senior. He's been great for us, and he continued to make plays, so I'm happy for him.
Last question, going to Laramie elevation. Any difference in how you might sub the guys in and out in that situation, or what do you think?
At the end of the day, I say football is football, right? And we'll see how it all plays out when we get up there. The biggest thing is make sure these guys are as ready as can be. Make sure they hydrate, make sure they sleep, make sure they eat to fuel their body. The body's their temple, and then, we'll make adjustments as we go. I've never played in Wyoming before, so it'll be a first time for me as well.
All right. Well, enjoy the trip. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Steve, it was interesting to hear what Coach Sampson had to say about Mekhi Shaw, who is apparently dealing with some issues. But if they can get him settled and more involved, then that will make the Aztecs offense even more dangerous.
So, Lewis, the Aztecs are coming from sea level for this one and moving up to 7,100 feet above against Wyoming. And if you've ever exerted yourself at altitude, you know what a challenge that presents to any athlete once the altimeter starts climbing upward. Now, I'm partial to those little Coca-Cola-sized cans of oxygen that pilots keep handy, Lewis, but the Aztecs head coach starts out with the notion that it's nothing he can control, so forget about it.
There's something that can be used as an excuse every single week, right? And they all stink, right? So it doesn't matter. So let's go. Let's control what we can control, and pour into the things that our time and energy most are valuable to, that we can invest in. And I mean, again, we've talked about it before. Like, hey, play down here at sea level, go play in the parking lot, go play at altitude. Like, we get an opportunity to do this. We get the opportunity to go to compete and play the game that we love. Like, let's go do it.
But on the other hand, he notes there's another coach in the building who's had some success in the Mountain West year after year. For my money, that Mountain West is the most challenging travel conference in the country. But there's a basketball program now led by Brian Dutcher that's had some success there. So Coach Lou says he'll take some of this advice. I don't know if this is how the conversation went exactly when he talked to Coach Dutcher, but it's still somewhat topical, so say it 3 times now for me, Lewis. Beet juice, beet juice, beet juice. Coach Lewis points out he is fresh from a stint at altitude in Boulder, Colorado. It's a cool 5,400 feet. Now, I'm no scientist, but a spin on the web makes me and everyone else sound like they know what they're talking about. Here's a condensation of the science I've come up with after landing on a site called altitudecentre.com. Beetroot's juice is rich in nitrate. The human body uses its own enzymes to generate nitric oxide, which is a very important substance. Administered over a number of days, supplements that are rich in beetroots have shown an increase in the amount of nitric oxide in the saliva and the blood. This, in turn, has shown increased blood flow through muscles, improved lung function, better exercise performance. Science, of course, more complicated than that, but you get the idea. For Coach Lou and his charges, it means supplements are your friend.
I think we are going a pill variety here this week. So that way no one has to say anything about the taste, right? Like, hey, take your supplement, take your vitamins, just like with my little kids. Like, hey, get your Flintstone vitamins and let's go.
So on that note, Lewis, how about I just say yabba dabba doo and toss it over to you for our goodbye.
We usually say let's wrap this up, but really aren't we winding it down? Well, whatever the wording, we are finished with this edition of Aztecs All In. Please follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also follow us on the X at Aztecs_all_in or drop us a line at aztecsallin@gmail.com. So until Saturday, when we will join you following the Wyoming game, I'm Lewis Weiner for Steve Perez. Take care.